and you follow me where I'm going. Not only says I'm going to die, he said, if you don't follow me to do it, you're not mine. So the whole dying issue, he didn't say, oh, I love to get hurt and all that. None of that garbage. He was hurting. I mean, they beat him up and all of that. But that wasn't the major issue. Someone could physically beat you up, but that wouldn't compare if the one you love most, your wife and the children, or you would fill in that, if they turned on you and lied about you and all the rest of it, that'd be an absolute heartbreak. And that is what troubled him. He said, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful. I'm filled with sorrow. My heart's breaking. My heart's breaking. That was his problem. My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, and it's about to kill me, even unto death, he said. So he goes to his father and he says, this is physically, my sorrow is so deep. The people have rejected me. They're going to reject me. They're going to be gloating and all of that. They will hate me and all of that. And I love them. And he'll say to them, oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. You know what I feel like? He said, I feel like a mother hen. I see the trouble coming. This isn't the text. I see the trouble coming, and I beg you to come and hide under me. You know, that will keep you from getting hurt. And you won't do it. And you won't do it. And they're screaming, you're a lying rascal, and on and on and on. And here he's sitting on a hill on his own, crying his eyes out about what's going to happen to them. He loves his people, loves them. I didn't come here, he says, to be served. I came here to serve. I didn't come here for you to save me. I came here for me to save you. You think I've come a miracle worker and all that I came here for you to save me? I didn't do that. I came, and they won't have it. And his heart is breaking, and he's sweating. I mean, profusely. It wasn't just a wee, you know, when you get a bit warm and a wee bit of his sweat is falling from him like you cut one of your organs there, and the big heavy drops of blood are falling. That's what's happening to him. He's suffering from dehydration, and it was a cold night. Peter was at the fire, keeping himself warm. Christ was sweating like mad, and it was killing him. So he went to his father and he asked, I know you can do anything, but if it suits your purposes, I would like you to help me
cup of water,
take care of this pain. And he sent him 3 angels, not to take away the pain, but to enable him to carry it so that he could go to the cross and get the job done. And before he asked, he said, I want you to know, I don't want my will in the matter. He never did. He said, I do always what pleases him. And you will leave me, you'll run off and abandon me, but he will never leave me, for I do always the things that please him. So when he comes to his father at the deal, he said, Father, this anguish, my heartbreak and that, it's attacking my body. I'm physically dying. And they've kept him up all night, you see, and they've been sending him, all checking him out. And then when he finally gets to the cross, he can't make it physically. So they get a guy to carry the cross and all of that. They get him physical help so that he can even make it to the cross. What was bothering him was that the nation was rejecting him, and in rejecting him, rejecting the Father, and in rejecting the Father and him, 13 million of them are going down here shortly when they have a war with Rome. And that ends in 70 AD. And then 50 years later, and less than that, they have another go at Rome and lose millions more. And to this very day, they're hated all over the world, all rejecting the Father and rejecting Jesus. Jesus knows, if only you'd known the moment of your visitation when God came, but you don't. And do you know what's going to happen? They're going to build walls around you, tying you in and all of that. And they're going to burn you and on and on and on and on. All of this is going to happen to his family. If it happened to her, was happening to her, we knew it was going to happen to her, we'd be out of our gourd.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, because the more you love, the worse it feels when the one you love is getting the hammer.
Sure.
And Jesus loved better, deeper, richer because of who and the kind of one he was. He hurt more than anyone in sorrow. Nobody else could feel the depth of the pain he was feeling because nobody else could love to the degree that he loved his people. So he comes to God and says, I'm dying, physically dying. The water is pouring out of me. Dehydration is it's killing me. Can you do something about that? And the Father sent 3 angels. And it doesn't say how they lifted him up, maybe just even their presence. But it doesn't take the pain away, because he then, when he's up on the cross, he said, oh, and he's groaning, why have you forsaken me? He's not asking for information. He knows why he's dying. He says, 2 guys on the road to wherever, and they're saying, well, you know, we're all upset because it was a fella that we hoped would be the Messiah, and they killed him, you know. And Jesus said, fools, slow of heart, not to believe all that the prophets said would happen to the Messiah. And then the text says he opens up the scriptures from start to finish, and he says, see, and he shows that the prophets said all of this was going to happen. He knew the Bible back to front. All he had to do was read the Bible. Oh, I'm in for a day or two here. And that's exactly, that's what he came for. And on the cross, Luke records, I'm going to stop us, I know I'm stopping, but Luke records his last words on the cross with this: Father, I trust you with myself, with my soul. Yeah. So, for all the my God, he quoted a psalm, Psalm 22. That's where he gets this, my God, why have you forsaken me? He's saying, my God, not the God I used to know, or the God I want nothing to do with, no, nothing like that at all. The Psalm, if you read Psalm 22, there's a guy there taking a bad beating. Jesus didn't get physical beating for a very long time. It was hours and hours before they knew that he was dead. And they said, he's dead already, you know, and that. But the guy in the Psalm, his enemies are mocking, and they're coming around his house and checking out all his gear, and they gamble over it. He's not dead yet, but they're gambling over it. Okay, you'll get his a horseshoe there, and you will get his big chair, and you will, and that's what they're doing all the while, and they do that with Jesus' garments, you see. And he's reminding them what's written in the Old Testament about a man who said to God, I've been obedient to you since I was a child. You've been my God. This is all in the text, Psalm 22. When you get a chance and you're in the mood, George, read Psalm 22. It gives you a whole picture of why Jesus makes the, my God, why have you forsaken me? He's not talking about himself being kicked out by God. He's sending his enemies. Have you read Psalm 22 lately?
No, but I will.
No, we haven't done that yet. Well, here's the guy, and he says, this is killing me. Oh, I'm praying enough, but they're still beating on me and all of that, and all of this. It's anguish, That's the first half of the psalm. The second half, something happened. Either he said to himself, what are you on about? Of course he hears your prayers, all of that kind of thing. And then he says, God always heard my prayers. He's always with me. And he said, everything's okay with me. And he said, I'm going to tell people about how you delivered me and all of that. Jesus has all this story in mind in Psalm 22, and he's telling his enemies. You read the Old Testament lately? No. You read Psalm 22 lately? And this guy who's taking a terrible beating, and what? You thought God was hating him and didn't want anything to do with him because he allowed him to suffer and all of that? That guy, when he suffered and all that, he was able now to teach and preach. He said, I'm going to preach this stuff that God brought me through all of this. He said, why do you, this is what's happening with me. And he said, Father, into your hand. And then, in another text, well, he's worried about being on the cross. Here's what Jesus said about the cross. I saw the Lord always before me. He is at my right hand. I won't be moved an inch. You, he said to God, you will not allow my soul to be left in the realm of the dead, nor will you suffer your Holy One to see corruption. You have taught me the ways of... This is what he's saying about the cross. And then the Hebrew writer says, the cross, they beat him up and hurt him bad and broke his heart and all the rest of it. He despised the shame. He said, Well, he was crying and all of that, but he said, what trouble? That's how he viewed the cross. Now, he was hurting. That's never denied. But the Hebrew writer says, in the days of his flesh, when he was living those years as a human, in the days of his flesh, he prayed with strong tears to him who was able to save him, and he was saved. He got what he asked for. Jesus said to God, if you can work this out, I'm telling you now, I want your will. Well, he only wanted God's will because he couldn't get anything else. That's not what he's saying at all. He always wanted the will of God, because the will of God, he wasn't saying, well, if I can't get it, then I'm going to have to take it. That's not what he's saying. It's the opposite of what he's saying. He starts saying, I don't want my will. I want you to know it, and I'm saying it, and it's written all down. I want them to know. I didn't come here thinking, oh, I really want. No. He said, I want your will, because I know your will is always the best. It's what I want. So he's not putting up with it. Oh, I hate that. I wanted X, and he won't give me X. He'll give me YZ. You know. Oh, I suppose I'll have to put up with it. Not my will, but yours, okay? That's not the tone or anything like it.
He didn't even question it.
Not it. He came saying to his people who were already whacking on him. He said, I didn't come here to be served. I came here to serve and to give my life for redemption. And he says, no one takes my life from me. I lay it down of myself.
Give it.
And I lay it down that I might take it again, because my Father said, we'll handle it. All of this, say he's hurting, say he's brokenhearted, say he feels like he's dying, say all that. But dear God, don't make him into someone. If you're dying, you're having a favor done to you. If they kill you, don't worry about the body. They can't kill your soul. Just, you know, and you're blessed when they curse you.
He wasn't a martyr.
Oh, it was not a murder. He chose the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to him not being a martyr, he was doing it with, here we are, three of us sitting here. Our future is absolutely settled. And we're talking about him. And if he joined us here for a minute or two, he would say, that's exactly right. You know why I came here? So that you three, and multiply you by millions, you three would never lose one another.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
That's exactly right, George. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And the more we think of him in that way, rather than, well, you need to do more, be more, give more, attend more, read more Bible. You know, I don't say that telling one another every now and again, come on, let's, you know that. But that's all I hear in the preaching. That's all I hear the Church of God being told. It's always, well, you know, the Lord is love, of course, but he's also a fire that burns. And who does he say that? Our God is a big strong word.
Consuming.
Our God is a consuming fire. Thank you. Our God is a consuming fire. Ooh, so what? So I should worry about it? It's good news that he's a consuming fire. But it's not a worry to those who trust him and give him the best shot. He says this about his Father. Every plant which my Father has not planted will be rooted up and thrown in the fire. He's talking about enemies. Not only his enemies, but the enemies of the children he has created and all of that. He said, I'm a consuming fire. I tear everything up that is, you know, disgusting and wicked and all the rest of it. We just can't get around to it. God says, I don't just love. I am the embodiment. I am love. Love wouldn't exist apart from my being, the being that I am. And God, you know why you and she and I and our loved ones, you know why we exist? The simplest answer to it is, God did not want to be God without us. Okay? Woo! Why did he create us? He didn't want to be God without us. He created us, Psalm 132, because he loves and he created us. Yeah. We just don't get it. So when you walk and you get to the house and you see yourself in a mirror, this is what he teaches us. But we think, wait a minute. That may be true of people 2,000 years ago, or this, that, and the other. No, he created everybody. He didn't create them the way he created Adam and Eve. He does it through procreation. But he is the one who gives life, and people are born through the usual way that he has now set up for it to be done. And so, well, you look and wonder why I'm even existing, and you hear God saying, because I didn't want to be God without you. I love the thought of you. I like to tell women when the arguments are that God doesn't like women and the Bible's against women and all the preachers are against women. I like to again and again say that what? Before he created, he thought about creating. You know, he didn't create something and say, wonder what I'm going to do with it now. No, he purposed the creation. And I like to say that he thought women and men, of course, but in this case, I'm not trying to make the point about the women when they're saying God doesn't like women. No, God thought of womankind, thought it. And because he thought it, he said, I'm going to make that. And he makes women. Our Father, who art in heaven, the day that you meet him in Christ, you know, he'll say, are you God? And he'll say, are you my Father? And he'll say, yeah, that's me. And I'm glad you're home. See that fellow over there telling all those people?
Brother.
Huh?
Your brother.
That's your brother.
It's your brother.
So you go over to him and you say, are you Jesus? And he'll say, yeah, that's me. So you're the one that kept me out of trouble, that kept me on my feet, and are you the one I've got to thank for all of that? And he'll say, yeah, but it was a real, I loved it. I loved the work. This is why we exist. We don't know what it shall be like, the text says, but we know that when we see him, we shall be like him. You look back at the times in your life and you think, I was a real pig then, wasn't I? You know, and you think all of that, and you think, I'll never make it. There's no possibility. And then, now that you're called in and all that, and you get, and by his grace you meet up with him, and you have this talk, and then you turn around and there's a mirror somewhere, and you see yourself in it, and you say, what? That's me? That's the, you know? And then you see somebody who was a bigger ruffian than we were, and you see him standing over there, or her standing over there, and they're glorious, lovely, and all about it, and they have a lovely way. And you say, are you Wilma? Yeah, George, or whoever, I forgot your name. What is your name? I'm not joking. George. This is, it beats on me. But, hey, she says, you say, are you Wilma? And she says, Yeah. You're George, aren't you? Yeah. And you're looking at one another and you're seeing these, what? What is this? Glorious. Not just sweetie and glorious, but strong and happy and thrilled. Not just looking different outside, but being different inside. Because you don't just get a new body. Your heart is all different now. You're out of a world, gone from a world that is filthy and rotten at its worst. Yeah. Now you're in a world where everybody, when you do something good, it's like eating your favorite ice cream. It was good. You know, that kind of thing. He doesn't just make us physically better. We become immortal, deathless. But within, we get to be like him. When we see him, we shall be like him. And Jesus at his best is what we will grow toward. We will love goodness. It won't be, oh dear, no more preaching about, no, we'll feel all of this. And that's why he came. And that's why when you hear him on the cross saying, you want me to skip this? You think I want to skip this? Your head's a marley. I came here to begin a new creation. Anyone that's in Christ Jesus is a new creation. All things are passed away. All things have become new. This is the gospel. And George, I'm not wanting to sound like a hero, and I don't sense that at all. But that's why he has me keeping looking, seeing another way to say it, another way. I didn't get that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm beginning to get things. But it's not just for me. It says of me and millions like me down the centuries. He says of Jesus, God says of Jesus, he went up and high, he ascended in glory. I'm forgetting how the text goes. He ascended up on high and gave gifts to man. And he gave some to be apostles, some to be prophets, some to be preachers, some to be elders, people with a different, some to be happy around people, someone gifted to make people feel at home, and some to be a non-stop worker who does this and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of these things he has given to various people. This is who we're dealing with and who is dealing with us. And then because we lose a leg or it's, I'm getting ready to go now, I'm leaving. Well, what do you think of that? Well, I don't think it's that God's against me, that's for sure. I hate this notion, and I hate this dementia thing, but, well, does that not prove that God doesn't care about you? What? Have you read anything about Jesus Christ hanging on a cross? Yeah, what?
Your head's a marley.
Your head's a marley.
All right.